I had been very impatiently waiting for Zootopia 2 to arrive on Disney+. There were a few times when I did consider paying to rent it before it became available, but I held out, and honestly I'm kind of glad that I waited. On its own, it's absolutely fine. There are many things that I can praise about it, and indeed I will do in a moment, but compared with the first film, I just didn't think the quality was there. It is a good film, but it's just not as good as the first film. And to be fair, yeah, sequels often aren't as good, but I just didn't feel very excited. I'd say after about 20 minutes or so, I'm guessing it wasn't at the very beginning, but it was relatively quickly into it, I realised that the narrative itself was just really boring. This was released last year in 2025. It's directed by Jared Bush and Byron Howard. It's written by Jared Bush with a voice cast including Ginnifer Goodwin, Jason Bateman, Kehu Quan, Andy Samberg, Idris Elba, Shakira. I could go on. We have Stephanie Beatrice, Macaulay Culkin, Brenda Song, John Leguizamo, just Maurice LaMarche, just amazing voice cast, and I have no problems with the voice acting at all. And in general, the characters are still fabulous. Judy and Nick have to prove their worth and show that they can work together, or else there'll be consequences. And that aspect, I don't hate. I don't mind that part of the narrative. We're focusing on the characters. We're focusing on their relationships. I love Judy and Nick as characters. I love them individually. I love them working together. That aspect I enjoyed. But the actual case they take on and the events that follow were just, for me, really boring. It involves going after Gary the Snake, and there's a little bit more to it than that, but I really didn't love it. I was so excited for this film, and I just think the narrative is not that interesting. It's not the worst. The pacing is fine. In fact, the pacing's not too bad, but the actual specifics, for me, are just kind of boring. It's not that it's badly written, and if the narrative appeals to you, you might actually really thoroughly enjoy it. But it just, for me, wasn't the right choice. The story was not that interesting. But everything else, for the most part, is so fabulous that it was still a good experience. Just compared with the first film, it definitely wasn't as enjoyable. The characters are fabulous. Solid character writing. We have beautiful animation, beautiful character designs, gorgeous facial expressions. There are a couple of times where I feel like some scenes were maybe a bit too busy, a bit too overstimulating. There was too much going on. Not throughout the entire film, but it did happen quite frequently, to the point where I didn't love that very much. And it's not unique to this film. There are a lot of animations, particularly in recent years, where they're very busy. And they do have the potential to be overstimulating, and I don't love that. It is a direction in which animation appears to be going, or some animation, but there were plenty of scenes as well where that wasn't the case, so it does balance out enough. The colour palette was lovely, absolutely stunning. The voice acting, of course, was very good. The music is okay, but in general, while I did enjoy plenty of aspects, I honestly don't know if I'd watch this one again. I would watch Zootopia again, the first film, but I can't really see myself ever watching this again. Maybe in 10, 20 years' time when I've completely forgotten all about this. Who am I kidding? It'll be 2 years and I'll have forgotten what happens in the film. My memory's terrible, which has its benefits when it comes to rewatching films. But the point there is that at some point, when I don't remember much about this film, I might give it another go. But at the moment, I can't see me ever choosing to watch this again. The first film is great. Zootopia 2 is not the worst film. It's not even the worst sequel, but the narrative is boring. Some of the animation isn't the most satisfying to look at. Some of the music isn't the best, but in general, the music's fine. It's an okay film. In fact, I'd say it's a good film. But compared with the first, the quality for me just wasn't quite there.